think it's definitely a higher possibility to have a sexual assault situation happen at a college party.
It's actually usually somebody you know.
I would say sexual assault's a problem here and at any school. I mean, the fact that it happens at all is a problem.
It's hard to put like one meaning into saying, you know, this is what makes you a man. I think there's many different things that make you a man, and there's many different influences.
To be a man, to me, I guess, is being responsible for yourself and probably for others.
That's a very complicated question. For me, I definitely go more with if you say you are a man, I'll pretty much go with that.
I think that there's two definitions. I think it's much more focused on economics and like salary and finance rather than the traditional having, sheer brute force.
We're watching our fathers or some other male figure in our lives. That's what determines our criteria for what it really means to be a man.
When I use words on masculine or feminine, there's a whole lot of assumptions made based off those labels that aren't necessarily true. I choose to honor both sides of my personality, the masculine and feminine side, and not hold one above another one. And I think to say I'm either or does that.
I think if you compare and contrast masculinity versus femininity, it's really different. Femininity, it's when you think of that, you think of softness and being dainty and prissy, and when you think of masculinity, it's aggressive and hard and very, very in your face.
I guess from an evolutionary point of view, you could say men, assert their dominance to show that they are the alpha male and that they are the most desirable to females, which, it's definitely applicable today.
Because of these societal impacts of this view of masculinity, men grow up thinking they need to be powerful, they need to be in control. So they become physical because that's the way they can control the situation and take the power away from everybody else so they have it.
If we playing basketball, right, and if I feel like I'm the strongest, the fastest, the best player on the court, and I'm not picked up, then I'm going to be like, what's going on, you know what I mean? And it's the same way because, like I say, masculinity is just pride. So if I feel like I'm the best looking guy, the most masculine looking guy, and everybody's getting some but me, then I'm going to be like, hey, what's happening?
I think that if females want to enjoy some of the benefits of being female, then they should be more submissive in certain respects.
I think that that's something that females or women do a lot in general. They want to appear submissive to a masculine man because most masculine men probably don't know how to approach a woman who might be aggressive.
If you're an aggressive woman, you're a bitch. But if you're a submissive female, then you're a woman, and you have woman qualities.
First off, I definitely don't think that women have an obligation to be submissive. I think women have the right, and they should be, just as the same level of independence and level of responsibility that they feel is necessary.
I met the guy earlier that day that it happened. My best friend, she was living with two roommates. Her one roommate had a boyfriend and he brought his friend over. He was over earlier that day and we were all watching TV. We were already gonna go do a girls' night, go out, and they were gonna go do their own thing. I didn't think I would see him again that night.
You know, we think with our little head instead of our big head. So we don't really care. If we see a girl, we know that she wants our attention, and we're gonna give it to her. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's right, but that's usually how some people think, especially they got liquor in them.
Pressure to drink in college. It's just what people do in college, and if you don't drink, you're definitely looked at as a little bit weird. People start asking you, why don't you drink?
That's all the time. When you go to a party or something and like you really don't want to drink, they're like, come on, do it. Or like if it's your birthday, you don't want to drink, come on, it's your birthday, you gotta drink, you gotta do it.
The loser has to chug all four.
I think the pressure comes from our peers. I think it's more of, hey, just have a beer, you know, no big deal.
Peer pressure never really, in fact, made me do something I didn't want to do. Cause like in the end, I'm my own person. I got my own mind. I can think for myself. Like sometimes you just gotta tell them, chill, I'm not drinking. Like for real, stop. People usually don't drink it for the taste. They drink it for the effects. You know, loosen up. You know. Some people turn to completely different people.
I mean, let's be honest. When you drink, you're not you. You know, I got a friend who's probably the most shyest guy in the world. He won't say nothing to anybody, let alone a girl. You know what I'm saying? But if you give him a pinch of liquor, then he's the man on campus.
Drinking definitely does help me unwind. It loosens me up, makes me feel a lot more calm and better.
And it's also way more socially acceptable for boys to get completely shit-faced at a party than it is for girls too.
I've definitely seen around here more girls make a fool of themselves than guys do. The girls that are falling over everybody is the girls that sometimes you see like a girl talking to like a group of guys and she is just trying to make out with everybody, you know what I mean? So it definitely shows that then the girls can't really handle their alcohol. With the guys, it's just like they walk around funny, they come to you, they ask you the same question over and over and over again. For the girls, then they just make fools of themselves, and I guess then they are at harm because some people will take advantage of that for sure.
Alcohol plays a huge role. It is actually the #1 date rape drug.
I've seen people come out the house and dancing on people's cars. You know, I didn't seen, you know, it can be rape. It can, if you name it, it can happen. You know, I didn't see people run out naked at a party. Anything and everything can go wrong at parties.
I feel like overall I try always my best to stay in control of the situation. I hate losing control, or it worries me because you're in this huge campus, like you really don't know where am I gonna end up, who am I gonna end up with, like are my friends really looking out for me, or are they also like passed out drunk, you know?
I was at some fraternity house on campus last year, and I'd met this girl earlier on in the evening, and she was on her way out the door, and she was completely wasted, like barely even walking. And I caught her, and this guy was like herding her out the door, and I like kind of caught her arm, and I was like, "Hey, are you okay right now?" And she like looked really disoriented and confused, and I was like, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm like, "No. Are you okay? Do you want to go home with him?" And she just like stopped, and I could see her brain actually processing what she was doing. She just like looked at the guy again and went, "No, I need to find my friends."
Sometimes when you find even strangers that are in that sort of situation, I think you have to help out so that people that have bad intentions, they don't come by them and do things that wouldn't be nice.
So we got ready, went out, then we came back. We had been drinking, and my friend had a bed that had a pull-out underneath it. That's where I slept, and when we got back, I pretty much just passed out.
Sex is dangerous.
I don't think most people think consciously about consent. It's almost not reciprocating a kiss if they push you away, if they say no. Often no isn't read as no in these situations. Often no is just a ha ha ha, okay.
You know, if you could see that she's definitely, you know, feeling it, then yes, I would say then that gives you consent. And then if she wants to stop it from there, or he wants to stop it from there, then it's the other person's responsibility to let them know that they're crossing the line.
It's tricky to negotiate these things, and it's hard to make a judgment call when you've been drinking and they've been drinking. So I don't think it's black or white. I think you have to know. I think you have to not drink so much where your judgment is out of whack.
If you wanted to go out to the movies with your friends, or they wanted you to go out to the movies with them, they don't just drag you along. They say, do you want to go to the movies? And then you say yes. It's the same thing. You're having sex with somebody, you say, do you want to have sex with me? And they say yes, or they say no. And then you respect that answer.
I don't think that girls should dress provocatively if they don't want men to look at them in a provocative nature. So yes, they're probably looking to hook up. Maybe not from everyone that they always receive advances from.
Me and my roommate, we have this joke and we call them the escajos, especially in the winter when you see those girls. It's like freezing outside, snowing with their high heels and like their butts is almost like showing. So those are the escajos. So that's definitely, I mean, of course, they're asking for it.
If I'm staying in an area where there's lots of wolves, you know, I'm not gonna be carrying around raw meat. You know, it's like, you know, some guys out here are sharks, and you know they smell blood, and once they smell it, they're gonna attack.
In times, yeah, I think that a girl that is dressing really, you know, provocatively could have the intent to, they're trying to gain attention that way. It's not going as far to saying, yeah, that girl is wanting somebody to have sex with her.
Most women, they like to just dress up. They like to look nice, and they go out just to have fun. They're not looking necessarily to have sex. They're not asking somebody, they're not showing it all off to be like, I want you to have sex with me.
You have to understand that a lot of women use their appearance as a way to feel good about themselves. So the more that they dress up and the more makeup that they wear, it's a confidence booster to dress like that and to act like that. And I don't think it's always driven towards impressing men. It's also to impress the other, you know, their girlfriends and their females, and to just to have a good night.
But a lot of guys definitely look at it and they think, oh, she wants to get laid tonight because she's dressing all, you know, skanky. But she's not necessarily doing it for that reason, and you can't assume that.
I have been to many parties where people think just because everyone's been drinking, we're having a good time, you have the right to grab me personally any way you want to, touch me any way you want to. Just because I don't have any clothes on, that I'm up for grabs. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me.
We were having a party, a big party at our house. This one guy that had been there for a while that I never met before, and I got to know him decently well, I guess. He was a big guy. He was way bigger than me. He was really tall and super muscular. So as the night went on, he was still hanging around. It was getting pretty late, really. Mostly just me and my roommates and a couple of close friends that were still there. And he was still there. And I noticed that he was starting to get a little too friendly with me. He, you know, he'd put his arm on my shoulder or something like that. And then it kept getting worse and worse. He started putting his hand on my leg, stuff like that. And eventually he tried to hold my hand, and I didn't want to, you know, call him out and embarrass him in front of everybody. So I tried to be discreet about it. I said, hey, no, don't, that's not what's going on. But I don't know if he got the hint or what, but he kept persisting pretty hard. At one point, he was in my room, and he was kind of nudging me to go with him into my own room. Eventually, I finally got him to leave when really there was no one else there. It was weird for me. I had never been hit on by a man before, especially that aggressively. and I felt pretty uncomfortable about it.
Around 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and my pants were down. The guy was laying next to me, and I was really confused at the time. I thought it was like my boyfriend, and he like started laughing in my face and just like continued, and I was still in like a state of confusion. And then I finally like figured out that it wasn't him, and I told him to stop, like I don't want to do this. And like he continued to like try, and like he tried to have sex with me, and I was like no. And then he left, but then he came back and he had a condom. He was like, here, how about now? And I'm like, no, like just leave me alone. Like, and I like had fallen back asleep, and like he wouldn't even leave the room. Like he was just like laying there, and I didn't know what to do. Like I fell back asleep, and then in the morning he was there.
Initial reaction, probably gonna think to myself, I'm gonna kick their ass, whoever did this to this person.
I'd probably get a few of my friends and go beat the shit out of the guy.
Probably not the best way to solve something like that, though.
So let's say, heaven forbid, my sister gets sexually assaulted. I would not go find the guy, because if I go find the guy and beat him up, now I'm in jail. How am I supposed to help when I am now in the back of a police car? I have to go to her, I have to tell her, what can I do to help? What do you want me to do? And give her resources that she could go to. Like, you can go to the hospital, get a date rape kit. You could go to the police station, file a report. So when somebody becomes sexually assaulted, they've had all of that power stripped away from them. So they feel very vulnerable. So it's very important to let them make the decision on what to do.
And it doesn't matter if I'm angry or if I'm upset, if I want justice. It's all about what they want to do.
I was really confused, like I didn't know what to do. I went home that day and my boyfriend picked me up from the train. Like I told him what happened and his response was horrible. He was like, well, you cheated on me? Like it was a bad first response, so I didn't know what to do. And I had to go back to my parents' house that day, so I didn't know if I should tell them, and I ended up like not telling them. Sunday, my brother drove me back to DeKalb. I ended up like breaking down in the car and crying, and I went to the hospital that night and they did like a rape test on me or whatnot, and then that's when we got the cops involved. But I think it took me a while to really respond how I should have. It was weird because I started having like nightmares, obviously, and I didn't remember initially, but I guess I gave him fellatio. But I didn't at first remember it, but I started having dreams about it, and I told the cop about that, and he's like, okay, well, you know, you might have like mentally blocked that out. So we did it over here with him, and he said he did it, pretty much shoved his dick in my mouth, and we had it on tape and still nothing. Like I even went and talked to the state's attorney. She told me she's been working as a state's attorney for 10 years and she's only gotten 1 conviction, and they weren't willing to try my case even though they had evidence over the phone. But at least I tried, I guess. I have like PTSD. I like wake up every night at 3. I used to freak out really bad. Like anytime I would hear a door open at night, I would freak out because I just always thought like if I would have heard him open the door to her bedroom, like maybe it wouldn't have happened. But I definitely have gotten counseling.
So we're Paws Off, and what we are is we're a peer education theater troupe here on campus. And we talk about 3 main topics: safe social habits, healthy and unhealthy relationships, and sexual assault. Shortly after I had started doing presentations, my roommate approached me and he had told me that our freshman year he had been sexually assaulted. It just really hit home because all of a sudden I realized what good I was doing and how it actually it impacts you, and there's probably people around you that this has happened to and they don't even want to talk about it because it just, it feels, especially for a guy, it can feel very demasculating to have something like this happen. So then they don't want to tell anybody. But then it was great when my roommate finally saw what I was doing and he became okay with it and came out and said, this happened to me and I want to be okay with it.
If we don't know how to identify sexual assault, sexual harassment, unwanted advances, how can we, 1, not do them ourselves, and then 2, prevent them from happening in the future? We have to know what we're looking for. We're not taught to know what sexual assault looks like. We're taught to look for rape. And when we say rape, we mean penetration, when rape is so much more than that.
I think it's better to be shared than kept a secret. Women go through it every day, and in a lot of cases it's a lot worse than what I went through. And maybe if I open some other girl's eyes, like at least I'm trying to help, trying to fix the problem, because maybe they'll be more aware when they go out. It took me a while to feel like I had my life back under my own control, and I think this does give me like a sense of control over the situation. Like at least I can share what happened. Like he can't take that away from me. He can't take away my freedom of speech. So I think it's empowering. I can tell other women about it.
I definitely do think sexual assault is a problem here at this school, along with every school and everywhere.
I don't think it could really be consent if you've been drinking and you're not really you at 100%, you know.
People are gonna drink and they're gonna have sex. You just need to be smart about it, you need to be safe and not be doing it with people you just met.
If you're looking at yourself 3 years later and you say, hey, I was at this party and I saw this girl, you know, getting taken advantage of, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to fit in with the people that I was around, then, you know, it's pretty upsetting that you didn't do anything to help that person out.
Like when you're dancing in the rain, being picture perfect in every frame. I only hope that you will stay the same as I remember you. You tried to cook with just one look. I wasn't sure if it was food. You were the queen of being mean, depending on your mood. All the same, I'll miss the good times with the bad. If you feel down, I'll start to frown, think of the good times that we had.